daily trading recap for 24th of May here, 2022, Tuesday. One of those days. I'm going to go over dollar volume quick first before anything else on the day. As of an hour after close here, NASDAQ $240 billion volume, NYSE $316 billion volume, OTC Markets $2.0 billion volume on the day. No other equity trades for me. It's all futures. Just one of those freaking days. To Christ be the glory in all of it. He will get the glory from this, I know for certain, but just this is one of those learning experiences. So to break it down, we had a harder gap down on the futures aspect from that session close yesterday, which was interesting to see. So situation of we open and we get a 1 point little nudge above where that open price was, where I am getting a long position looking for just that tiny little scalp for what the data says right now. I'm looking for that little 2 points just above where that opening price is. And then of course I have a bigger profit-seeking downward price action move on the full session-wide strategy that also worked out plenty of time before even pre-market today here in pre-market. But obviously then I also do, because it is a little bit of a smaller scalpy strategy to that upside profit target strategy, and for the consistent hit rate that's been showing on that one in the past 20, 50 days, and for how that strategy has also been working out in the past 100 days, I feel that the size variable for me there has been easily able for me to take 3 contracts on that one just for that quick little micro scalp that usually 90% of the time usually happens within 10-15 minutes of the session open, and if not by the market open of the following day of that session. But today was not one of those days. Sure, they had that harder sell off and just really failed to break back to the upside of that point there. My other downside target got hit with the shorts, and then that got me long. I was still long 3 contracts at the point in time, and then just getting ready for market hours. Got the 9:30 strategy going, which worked out well, but for some reason only worked on 1 contract. Don't know why, but pretty much worked immediately there from the get-go, which was nice to see on that one. And the 3:45 strategy, 3:45 to close time frame, also been wanting to put in more time frame variables there, and both of them would have worked again today. Only took 1 MES contract to the downside on that move there. But gosh, this was today was just totally, in essence, did not have enough margin. I mean, this is why I sized up big in this account and took a lot of money from a lot of other places in my just overall net worth of putting everything into this futures account, because knowing I wasn't going to be trading with that full size, but to say, hey, this is my backup so I can take these unrealized swings to be able to profit off of this backtested data and follow along with this system that I have. Well, that certainly got tested today when I was using 3 contracts on harder downside moves there for what still ended to be a profitable strategy. Today would have been a $1,600 win day, like the past 3 days have been, or the previous 2 days have been, if I had just untouched it. Well, it wouldn't even have stuck with the margin. It would have actually stopped me on my account, would have gone to 0, and then, of course, paid the $50 margin call fee on that one. So it would have been stupidity if I hadn't. I ended up actually liquidating 1 contract at a time into this little perk here, as I thought it was getting kind of weak. I just sold another one into this little range here, and then, of course, at the very bottom, as we were breaking into lows, I said, I just picture so much more downside, even looking on the SPY itself, just on the overall daily chart. The volume was not really there yet, and we just had so much more room left in my mind on how much buying pressure was coming in on the tick, saying, gosh, this buying pressure looks like it's exhausting itself. We just could roll over and start torpedoing downwards. It wasn't necessarily, I don't view any of my decisions today as that P&L, it's just so hard to bear, like the weight of that big red number, like it was just weighing on me. I don't view any of my decisions today based on that whatsoever. If I had the margin for it, let it do what it wants to do. Let it take me out $10,000 and let it come all the way back to making $100. I'm totally fine with that. It doesn't matter. It's just how much money you bring back home at the end of the day. But just that factor, for the unfortunate reason of how the learning lesson today of, okay, it doesn't even matter how small of a scalpy trade I think it is and how consistent of a hit rate I think it is. If I don't have the margin to be able to take those sustain those unrealized losses, then I can't take that size of trade. Even if the past, I've done this trade, this little 2-point scalpy trade on the full session, how many times before in these past weeks and even in the past month of just been consistent and like working very quickly after that session opened there. But today was certainly proof that you can't get comfortable with it. And I can't just continue to throw more size on it just because it keeps hitting. Because when it stops hitting, like everything inevitably does, that's when my pants are going to be ripped apart, torn to shreds, and I'm just going to be fully exposed like Thor in the new, whatever the new movie trailer is for him. But obviously not as good looking as him, but maybe one day. Anyway, today was just crazy. And to see it come back at the end of the day of just like, a thought in my mind as I'm kind of slowly closing out of these trades of like, gosh, I can't cut my trade short. That's what the pattern is. Like, I have to let this trade work out full session time frame. That is what this trade is. I can't cut it short. But then also just like, I can't sustain these unrealized losses. Like, this is just an unfortunate situation of kind of working myself into, like, I don't have the margin to be able to take this kind of loss if it just starts keep dipping and dipping and dipping. Even if it does end up being a super red day, that going 2-3% in the red day and start testing that former level again that happened on the 20th there. If we do start tanking more, it's just unfathomable. It's unfeasible. So it's to see it at the end of the day perfectly in this one candle hit all of my price targets that would have been there for those contracts that got me long right at the session wide open there. It's just this is me staring into the abyss of the market that is this black hole. I just have to laugh. That's all I can do. I'm not dead yet. I'm still alive and well, and I want to say it's weird, but my day today was still nice and dandy. I still carried myself well, got to go work out and just interact with people and live my life, and that's what I wanted to get into this profession, this occupation for, is to not be dictated by a red or green number on a screen, but of course to make money and have that financial freedom. But even on these days like this where it just absolutely rips me apart and exposes my butthole like never before, even through this, it's just like, okay, well, we know what to do for next time. We're obviously going to be sizing down to MES contracts from here on out until we can do other jobs and accumulate more money back into his account to get to an ES contract size once again, to one ES contract size again, let alone not even touching multiple. But the same thing, it was just like, should I factor in like, okay, am I not taking this seriously enough of this big of a loss? Is that because I kind of did factor this in today of, well, it shouldn't really be factored in because today would have been a winning day factoring into that strategy. But, of course, I took that different approach and derailed it from what the strategy should be because of outside circumstances with the overall margin in my account. But this is freaking trading, right? And I just have to laugh at it. It's not a excuse of like, well, that's just what it is and that's what it do, and then keep going along with it. That's part of what my mind wants to say of like, okay, this is what happened. This is where we go from here. I can't cry over spilled milk. It's already happened and done. But in the same light, hey, what more can we learn out of this and take the lessons learned from today and apply them to the next few trading cycles with this? But how many freaking lessons have I learned trading futures that I would not have even been able to expose myself with, still being in the small cap equities or even the OTC sector style of plays, that I'm just so incredibly thankful for how this is continuing to expose me to more of my own humanity and more of my faults and my mistakes and my missteps, and just that overall understanding that I am not perfect and I'm never going to be a perfect trader. And no one of these traders that I view on Twitter sphere or just any millionaire trader that we look up to is perfect by any means. They continually, and I would say daily, make mistakes that are just kind of laughable, of just like, you're a veteran? You have how much money in total P&L from trading? But in the same light of, it's how can we continue to minimize those, but also on days like this of just still maintain, I don't want to say a positive attitude of blow sunshine up your ass, but of just still understand that it's not about money. This doesn't dictate who I am. This is just bump in the road, little ditch in the valley. We're going to pick ourselves up, dust ourselves off, and just continue to go from here. It's just how it works. I just have to laugh at it because that's all you can do as you're staring into that abyss and that black hole of what this trading world is, of just how it continually wants to try to demoralize you and just take everything from you. That's just always what it's felt like, of course, in these big losing days, but then just the reminder of, oh yeah, that's right, money doesn't define who I am, and I'm here for money, here to make money, obviously have that financial freedom like I mentioned, but it's also not what defines me. And it's just like, okay, it's not funny money. I don't want to pretend like it has zero weight on me whatsoever, but it's also just days like this, there's just that consistent reminder of knowing what I'm doing this for. It's not so I can continually feel like I am the king and I own the market and I can do all these specific things, and they have this awesome hit rate and it just turns out this money day by day and I have to do absolutely nothing except push the button to turn the strategy on. That's not what it is whatsoever. Just to have the respect and the understanding of what these days can produce. All I can do is laugh, and all I can do is we go on to the next one. We learn and we grow. This is not going to be the smallest loss in my career by any means. I say that anytime I create a new bigger loss in my trading career, because I know for the size that I want to be taken in the future and where I know I will be, I know it certainly will not be the biggest loser of my career, but it certainly will not be the last trading loss that I take. But these are the days that keep you humble. These are the days that keep you on your toes and keep you respectful to what the overall market is, and just fine-tune you closer and closer and closer to the type of trader that you want to be in the future. So big exhale, big inhale, big exhale on today of just everything that went down and for all the circumstances that were there, and just kind of pat on the back for myself of just still maintaining positive attitude and clear head, clear conscience, clear mind, just to be able to say, to not be acting in the frame of mind of like a FOMO, or a relative term for that, of just like kind of panicking at the big red losses that's coming. That we can imagine that a lot of people are feeling in this more of a bear market, starting with their, whether it's retirement funds or anything that they're involved with the stock market, that they're potentially feeling. Not involving myself in that same ritual, but just of understanding, hey, the kind of unfortunate experience of I can't let this account do these specific things outside externally of the parameters that I had set in for the day on this backtesting data. That's my mistake. That is my fault of not kind of recognizing that beforehand for how the kind of weird situation of how we gap down with the futures, how we open and hard sell off from there, of just where I was getting filled on those contracts. This is where that backtesting comes out of the vacuum of backtesting into the real world practical application of just like, oh, today would have come up as a green data point, but the reality of being in the trenches and what margin was in my account at the time, of course, having to take a losing day yesterday, just all those different factors that were rattling in. It's real life. It's real trading. This is trading, and I'm here for all of it. I'm here. I know there's going to be more of these in the future. I don't want them to be there, but I'm going to do everything in my power to minimize them as small as I possibly can. This is it. I'm here for it. I am smiling and waving at future me watching this one and just kind of scratching my head like, you freaking idiot. How much did you lose today? Doing what? This is one for the memory books. This is one for the future. That's all I can look at it as. So I think that's enough talking for me. I sincerely thank you guys all for watching, and we will catch you guys on the next one.